Tonight on Sports Pause, the men's ice hockey team traveled to Fairfield for the CT Ice tournament.
And both basketball teams took on Ryder and now are fighting for top spots in the MAC Conference.
And the women's ice hockey team had a weekend series against Yale and Brown.
All that and more coming up right now on Sports Pause.
Hello and welcome into Studio 125 for the first time of 2025. I'm Eli Ehlers, joined alongside Dan Welsh.
While our show was away for winter break, the winter sports teams were busy. Here's the Sports Pause break recap.
Thanks, guys. Let's get into some women's basketball break recap. The women's basketball team has had their best ever start to a season. The women's basketball team was on a 9-game winning streak, losing their first game in MAC Conference play at home in Camden to Mount St. Mary's in overtime with the score of 64-69. Overall, the women's team has shown their perseverance and could show that they can make a run in the MAC tournament in March. Now, let's look at Thomas Curtis about the men's side.
Thanks, Brittany. The men's team ended off non-conference play with a big win over Hofstra, Coach Pecor's former team. They then got into MAC play where they beat Merrimack, lost to Marist, and since then have reeled off 4 straight wins in conference. That fourth game came against Mount St. Mary's, where they won 91-57, and Amari Monroe had a career-high 25 points. Now we'll head over to Rose Carrada for women's hockey.
Thanks, Thomas. Men's basketball has clearly been busy, but let's take a look at women's ice hockey. The Bobcats started out the break with a back-to-back series where they beat Union 8-1 in RPI 4-0. Sophomore Kaylin LaMarche recorded 4 goals between the two matchups, and first-year goaltender Felicia Frank made 22 saves in her shutout against RPI. Unfortunately, the team hit a rough patch after the sweep where they lost 3-1 to Princeton, 4-2 to Colgate, and 4-1 to Cornell. They're heading into the second semester of the 2024-2025 season, ranked 5th in the ECAC standings. That's all for women's ice hockey. Here's Ava Heaton to tell you about the men's side of the ice.
Thanks, Rose. The men's ice hockey team went 6-1-1 over break, with their only loss coming against Northeastern and their tie coming against Cornell. In their game against Colgate, senior forward Jack Ricketts reported his 100th NCAA point. Despite their record, though, the Bobcats were up and down and struggled at times, but they found ways to win games late. That's all I have from Martiri Family Arena. Back to you guys on desk.
Thanks, guys. The name Jacob Quillen is a popular one in Hamden after he scored the infamous national championship game-winning goal in 2023. Now Quillen is making his name known in the pros. On Saturday, he made his NHL debut for the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Ottawa Senators. While Saturday didn't lead to points for Quillen, he recorded 5 minutes and 21 seconds of ice time with 1 hit. Through 25 games in the AHL, Quillen has scored 6 goals and 9 assists for 15 points with a +9 rating. More news on the ice. Men's ice hockey captain Travis Treloar has been named to the Hobey Baker watch list. The graduate forward came in from Ohio State last season, and he has been an offensive force for the Bobcats with 12 goals and 10 assists through 25 games. 3 of Treloar's goals have been game-winning goals. He sits at 6 in the NCAA for power play goals with 7. No Bobcat has won the Hobey Baker Award, but Treloar hopes to be the first. On Friday, Treloar and the Bobcats took on the Yukon Huskies for Game 1 of the CT Ice tournament. Yukon entered as the 13th team riding a 5-game unbeaten streak as Quinnipiac was riding a 15th ranked position. In the first period, here's Yukon in the offensive zone. Trey Scott rips a shot from the blue line, but it's stopped by first-year goalie Dylan Silverstein. Speaking of first years, Chris Pelosi gets the puck and fires, but Kai Genevira blocks the shot. Later on, it's a turnover in the neutral zone after a great pass. Heading into the second period, Ryan Tattle toe drags and gets by Elliot Gronwald, and he buries it for the first goal of the game, 1-0 Yukon. Later, it's Yukon's Jake Percival with a clean look, but his shot is stopped by Silverstein. Then it's Davis Pennington with a rip from the blue line and a tip in front by Travis Treloar, 1-1 game. In the third period, it's a series of turnovers. Tyler Borgula, what a pass to Jack Ricketts, but he's denied by Muslik. Breakaway chance for Yukon, centered pass and a shot stopped by Silverstein as he stands tall in goal. Then some nice passing from UConn in the offensive zone. A centering pass with less than a second to go. It's Ryan Tattle again with a heartbreaker game winner for UConn. The final score at Fairfield, 2-1 for the UConn Huskies as they advance to the national championship game.
Quinnipiac would go down to UConn. Ryan Tattle with the heartbreaker. Travis Treloar with a goal in that game. Quinnipiac men's ice hockey taking on Yale for the second installment of the Battle of Whitney Ave in this CT Ice consolation game as Jeremy Wilmer gets warmed up for game number 100. 3 minutes into the game, the Bobcats on the power play. Aaron Bollinger, he'll shoot it from the point. Travis Treloar will collect it, spin it to Jeremy Wilmer. Wilmer will make no mistake. Travis Treloar will get his 100th NCAA point on the assist. Midway through the first period, Chris Pelosi shorthanded chance through Yale's defender over Jack Stark's blocker into the net. 2-0 Quinnipiac, not even 10 minutes through the period. Then Quinnipiac will be back on the power play, 5-on-3. Aaron Schwartz, he's going to find Travis Treloar, yawning cage for Treloar, making no mistake. Why not add another point? NCAA point, 101. Yale would respond though. Minutes later, Ronan O'Donnell with the rip. That one will get by Silverstein. Quinnipiac up 3-1 going into the second period. Yale's first year, Zach Wagner, he'll get that on a golden platter, making no mistake, past Silverstein. All of a sudden, it is a 1-1 game in Fairfield. Then in the last minute of the period, Brandon Sorbonne, he'll get the rebound, put that one in. Quinnipiac ahead 4-2. In the third period, final frame, Dylan Silverstein 2-0. Phenomenal diving save, making another save there. Quinnipiac would tack on 2 more. Travis Treloar would pick up his 100th NCAA point, and the Bobcats dominate on special teams. Power play went 3 for 7, and the penalty kill went 7 for 7.
The CT Ice tournament is continuing to grow each year.
Men's ice hockey beat reporter Zach Naffa has more.
It was the 5th edition of the Connecticut Ice Tournament, and for the first time, Sacred Heart University hosted here at Martiri Family Arena, as the tournament continues to grow and expand across the state. What began at Webster Bank Arena in 2020 has now moved across the home venues of each school involved, with Quinnipiac hosting in 2023, UConn at the XL Center in 2024, and this year's event hosted by Sacred Heart at Martiri Family Arena. Despite this year being the first time Rand Pecknold's Bobcats missed out on the championship game, the Quinnipiac head coach was impressed with how Sacred Heart hosted the event.
I mean, obviously, we're disappointed to not be in the championship game and not win a trophy this weekend, but I thought Sacred Heart did a phenomenal job. The rink is first class. The production, I stayed for the watches of the game a little bit last night. It's excellent. It's really impressive what they've done, and you know, the commitment that they have to hockey, and you know, they're only going to get better as they move forward.
Mike Kavanaugh's UConn Huskies won their first CTI's tournament championship this year at Martiri Family Arena. And while he does believe that Sacred Heart did a good job in hosting, he wants to see the event at the XL Center every season due to its larger capacity.
I thought it was great. Listen, this is a beautiful building. CJ gave me a tour this morning when I got down here, and it's really, really impressive building. You know, I like the building. It has nothing to do with that. I think our building's great too. I just think we're shortchanging ourselves in Connecticut as college hockey fans if we are only going to limit 4,000 people to come here tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the building, and they've done an awesome job hosting, and Quinnipiac did a great job hosting when they had it. But I just think we should build this thing to where we're getting 10, 12,000 for a final. I think we're capable of doing that in this state, and that's the only reason that I say that. It has nothing to do with anything else.
The 6th edition of the tournament will take place next year at Ingalls Arena, hosted by Yale University. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Zach Naffa.
Following the 1-1 weekend with a loss to then number 13 UConn, the Bobcats now sit at 14 in the USCHO poll, moving up 1 spot. The Huskies move up to number 9. Boston College jumps to the top spot after beating Boston University twice. Michigan State drops to 2, followed by Western Michigan to round out the top 3. Quinnipiac will take on Dartmouth, who currently sits just outside the top 20 at 22 on Friday. Women's basketball head coach Trisha Fabry has been named on the mid-season watch list for the Kathy Delaney Smith Mid-Major Coach of the Year award. It's Fabry's 13th season as head coach, and she's led the Bobcats to one of the best starts in program history. She places in the top 25 active Division I coaches for wins with 531. Fabry and the Bobcats will hope to continue their historic season with a win against Fairfield on Thursday. After dropping their first MAC loss of the year to Mount St. Mary's, Fabry and the Bobcats battled Ryder on Saturday, looking to get back in the win column. And the Bobcats handled their business. They went into the locker room up at half 36-13. Gallerview played all 40 minutes and posted 21 points. The Bobcats took the game by a final score of 66-53, improving to 16-2, and they'll be back in action on Thursday at Fairfield for a big-time matchup. We now welcome in women's beat reporter Jack Bergman. Welcome to the desk, Jack.
Thank you.
Now, Jack, we got a couple questions for you about the basketball team. Like we heard earlier, best start in program history. What do you think has made them so strong this year?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the biggest thing for them is got to be their depth. They have 4 of the top 20 scorers in all of the MAC. In Gal Raviv, they have Anna Foley in the paint. They have Jackie Grisdale, the lethal three-point shooter. And they also have Carson Martin, who's done an amazing job out on the perimeter as well. And it's just really incredible to stop this team. It's really hard for them.
Point guard Gal Raviv won her 7th Rookie of the Week award today. So what makes her so dominant on the court?
Well, the biggest thing for her is the fact that not only can she support the entire team, but she can support herself. She's 4th in scoring in the MAC. She averages 16.4 points a game, and she's 7th in the MAC in assists. And she's been an all-around superstar, and this is just her first year with the team. So I'm looking forward to all of the room that she has to grow.
Now, Jack, we've talked about the good. Quinnipiac is very good, but so is Fairfield. Fairfield actually leads Quinnipiac in the standings. How do you see the conference shaking out between those two?
Definitely. Well, the biggest thing for them is going to be this game on Thursday. On Thursday, Quinnipiac plays Fairfield, and I strongly believe that the winner of that game on Thursday is going to be the winner of the MAC.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a big-time game on Thursday, and it's at Fairfield, so you have to factor that in as well.
Of course, home field advantage.
Well, thanks so much, Jack. We've got to take our first timeout of the evening, but don't go anywhere. Men's basketball was also in action against Ryder this week, looking to win their 5th straight game. Could the Bobcats hold down Lender Court?
And women's ice hockey hosted a 2-game homestand against Yale and Brown, looking to gain some ground in the ECAC hockey standings. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Welcome back to Sports Pause. On Saturday, men's basketball took on Ryder and Hamden for another matinee matchup. The Bobcats beat Ryder to begin MAC play on December 6th. The Bobcats are looking for their 5th straight win. In the first half, the Bobcats turn it over. Ruben Rodriguez in transition finds TJ Weeks Jr. on the wing, and he's knocked down for a 3. Ryder up 15-10 early. And Weeks does it again. Zion Cruz finds him on the other side for another big 3. 12 quick points for the graduate guard, 18-12, Ryder looking for the upset. Minutes later, Savion Lewis, back from injury, finds Ryan Mabry on the wing, pull up and good from the 3. Bobcats cut the deficit to 6. Then Doug Young finds Amari Monroe off the inbound, and the junior slams it home. Mabry up top now gets around the screen and pulls up, and he is red hot. 4 made threes for Mabry in the first half, but Ryder leads it 42-39. As we head to the second, Caden Bennett off the drive and gets fouled, but finishes anyway, and 1 for the sophomore. Quinnipiac ahead 50-49. And it's all breaks, no gas. Lewis off the pick and roll. He's deadly on those. Lays it in off the glass. Then Lewis dishes it to Jaden Zimmerman. He goes up for the reverse layup. What a play. And the lead grows to 7. Bennett brings it off the floor, gets the pick and roll from Paul Otieno, and finds the big man for the floater. Quinnipiac pulls away from Ryder. 75-64, the final score. That's 5 straight wins for the Bobcats. Monroe with his 6th double-double of the year. Bennett got one too, and the Bobcats improved to 8-1 in conference play and have a big game at home this weekend against Fairfield on Friday.
Ryan Mabry scored 12 points and shot 4 from 6 from the arc, his best shooting since October. Men's basketball beat reporter Beckett Calkins has more.
Despite being held scoreless in 5 of the last 6 games, Ryan Mabry found the bottom of the net for the Bobcats in a big win on Saturday over Ryder.
I've had ups and downs, obviously, and I've lost a little bit of confidence here and there, but this definitely helps. But I just want to carry it over to the next game, and it's not about me, it's about us, and I'm happy that we came out with a W today.
Mabry drilled 4 threes in the first half for Quinnipiac, who found itself down by as many as 11 points early on. Quinnipiac's head coach Tom Pecora noted how Mabry can really spread opposing defenses thin.
Whole different Ryan Mabry was great. I mean, that's the Ryan Mabry we recruited. We wanted a guy who could really extend defenses and make threes. And when he makes 4 threes, it makes everybody's life a lot easier. There's driving lanes for Amari, you know, and the guards, and Caden especially.
Leading scorer Amari Monroe was among the players voicing support for Mabry and his strong three-point shooting.
It's crazy, actually, because we were shooting yesterday, and he's asking me, what do I think about when I shoot? And I'm like, dude, you shoot way better than I do, so why are you asking me? I'm not shooting well either. But I just told him, like, don't think about it. It's all about reps. You know, we come in for extra shooting every day, and I told him, like, it's going to come, it's going to click. And it's ironic that it happened today, for sure.
Pecora mentioned how the perception of shooters sways heavily based on their game-to-game performance and what originally made Mabry stand out to him.
I keep just telling them, you know, shooters, they shoot it up and they sleep in the streets. If you make them, you're a superstar. If you miss them, you know, you're a bum. He's been drilling them. You know, I watched film of him at Miami, Ohio, and I'm like, damn. Let's get that one, because he was making shots.
Mabry and the Bobcats will look to keep the momentum going next Friday back at home against in-state rival Fairfield. For Q30 Sports, I'm Becky Calkins.
Following the tough weekend in New York against Colgate and Cornell, the women's ice hockey team was back in action.
And they kicked things off with a rivalry matchup on Friday. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team faced off against the Yale Bulldogs in Hamden. The previous meeting between the two teams saw the Bulldogs win a shootout in the Nutmeg Classic final. We start in the first period where Kaylee Doyle makes an absolutely nasty save, laying it all out as multiple Bulldogs try to score on the rebound in front, but the Bobcats are miraculously able to clear the puck after the chaos.
Then Quinnipiac on the offensive, they'll shoot. Pia Dukrich will make the save, keeping it tied at 0 at the end of 1.
Heading into the second, Emerson Jarvis will get some help from Tessa Holk and Maya Labad as the trio go tic-tac-toe to put the Bobcats on the board. They go up 1-0 late in the period.
Not even 30 seconds later, Kaylin LaMarche says she wants in on the action. She'll go between her legs and the Yale defender over Dukrich's blocker. Highlight reel goal from the sophomore, who just continues to dominate offensively for the hockey team.
Now it's the final 20 minutes of play as Gracie Gilkison takes a shot from the point, but Doyle is able to make the stop and cover up the rebound chance from the Bulldogs. The Bobcats clear out the puck later on the attack.
Then we'll get to the last minute of play. The shutout will elude Kaylee Doyle as Cammie Bell will squeak that one by her with 11 seconds left. That Bulldogs goal would be too little, too late, and the Bobcats will win the Battle of Whitney Ave 2-1. That was the only time this year that the rivalry ended in regulation.
And the next day, the Bobcats squared off against the Brown Bears. Quinnipiac is looking to avenge their overtime loss to the Bears earlier in the season, and it was a special day in Hamden as the annual Do It for Darren game took place.
Into the third period, Cameron Sikic with the shot. It hits the crossbar. The referee behind Doyle calls it a goal. Eventually, after a review, it would be turned to no goal as the puck hit the crossbar and never crossed the line.
Later on in the third, Kendall Cooper takes a shot from the point and the rebound is loose in the crease. Rory Edwards is somehow able to cover the puck and send it to OT.
In overtime, Cameron Sikic one-handed attempt. Kaylee Doyle says no. No goals in overtime. We head to the shootout. Fourth round, Ella Senek opens up the scoring, beating Edwards glove side.
Next shot, Olivia Fantino breaks in and beats Doyle blocker side to tie the shootout at 1. Later on in the shootout, Jada Ginla looks to win it for Brown, but Doyle robs her on the doorstep.
It's Emerson Jarvis looking to put the Bobcats back up, and that she will do to make it 6-5 Bobcats.
Elodie Waugh has to score to keep Brown alive, and she collides with Doyle, and the former Bear lifts the Bobcats over her alma mater.
Although an exciting finish, the game will go down as a tie, and both teams will receive 1.5 points in the ECAC standings. Quinnipiac will face Harvard and Dartmouth next week at M&T Bank Arena to continue ECAC play.
There is very little movement in this week's USCHO women's poll, as Quinnipiac stayed put at number 10. Minnesota Duluth dropped 2 spots down to 6 after getting swept by St. Thomas this week, which caused Colgate and Cornell to both jump up a spot respectively. Wisconsin remains firmly at number 1 with only 1 loss on the season. The Badgers haven't left this top spot since September 30th. We've got to take our last break of the night, but stay tuned. We've got the top 5 plays, not just of the week, but some of the whole break. Some sports-centered moments are on deck.
You will not want to miss those moments, and we'll dive deeper into women's ice hockey's Do It for Darren initiative to support mental health. Sports Pause, we'll be right back.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority. Come on.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Thanks for sticking with us. The women's track and field team traveled to the Dr. Sanders Invite at Columbia University over the weekend. A pair of Bobcats posted MAC best times. Riley Smith finished the 400-meter run with a time of 55.98 seconds, while Alyssa Romagnoli clocked in the 800-meter run at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Izzy Anzalato won the 200-meter dash, finishing the race in 25.29 seconds.
It's time to hit pause on your week and hit the rewind button.
We've got you covered with the top 5 plays over break. Let's take a look. Play number 5 on the hardwood. It's going to be Anna Foley. She will beat the defender and sink that one. Bobcats would win the game 66-53.
Now at number 4, men's hockey versus Yale. Yale on the odd man rush, but Dylan Silverstein makes not one but 2 big saves to keep the Bulldogs out. Quinnipiac wins at 6-2.
Back to the hardwood. Savion Lewis kicks, give it to Jaden Zimmerman. He shakes the defender, hits the deck in the paint, and 1.
At number 2, it's men's basketball versus Siena. Caden Bennett drives down the lane. Look out below, poster on his head. A Sports Center dunk for Bennett. QU wins it 72-53.
Speaking of Sports Center, play number 1, Kaylin Lamar, she'll take the puck from the red line. You saw this one before, in between her legs and the Yale defender, over Dukerich's blocker. Highlight reel goal. The women's ice hockey team is great on and off the ice. They host their Do It for Darren game every year to support mental health.
Women's ice hockey beat reporter Anthony Rossi has the story.
Some sporting events just mean more to the players and coaches behind it. And for the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team, they host the Do It for Darren game every single year, but really stepped it up this year as they have purple hearts on the glass of every single corner and gave out purple pom-pom hats in memory of Darren.
Mental health awareness we've taken such a big step in terms of people understanding the need and finding our resources and taking care of ourselves. But I still think that it's an issue that is not going away. And I still think it's something that it's easy for them to think about and support other people. But when it becomes you, it gets a lot harder. And that's why I think it's just such an important initiative for us to be sure that we continue to support, so that when people find themselves in a hard spot, they feel a lot more comfortable to ask for help and to be there.
In November of 2010, 14-year-old Darren Richardson sadly passed away due to suicide, but from this tragedy came a movement to transform youth mental health as we know it. Darren's parents, Luke and Stephanie, decided to take a public call to action and made a decision to support young people who struggle with their mental health. DIFD, or Do It for Darren, supports education, awareness, and research initiatives at the Royal Foundation for Mental Health in Ottawa, Canada, that encourages young people to talk openly about mental illness and to ask for help when needed. The purple DIFD heart, a creation inspired by Darren's favorite color, has become the youth-driven symbol of this movement. Although being at Quinnipiac for only 1 year, graduate transfer goaltender Kaylee Doyle loves the fact that a message is being told to everyone and makes sure to do her part not just as a Bobcat, but as a person as well.
Honestly, mental health for me has been a big thing. I promoted that at Brown. I promote it here. It's on the back of my helmet. So it's something that I take pretty personally. I lost an aunt due to mental health reasons. So I think for me, this game was awesome to have, and just growing support for mental health and knowing that it's okay not to be okay. I think it's super awesome what we do.
For more information on the Do It for Darren cause or to donate, visit their website at difd.com. And if you or a loved one are ever struggling with mental health, please do not hesitate to reach out to anyone. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Anthony Rossi.
All right, Eli. So later this week, both basketball teams taking on Fairfield. Which do you think is going to be the bigger game?
You know, Dan, I think they're both very important games, but I think women's basketball has to be a little bit more important just because that game, it really could go either way, and that's for the top of the MAC standings. Both teams 8-1. That game is going to be very critical for the standings, and like Jack said earlier in the show, whichever team wins that game, they're likely going to be the team to win the MAC. So NCAA tournament on the line there. That's going to be really important for both teams. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have tonight. Thank you to the producers and everyone working so diligently behind the scenes to make this show come to life.
To stay up to date on all things Quinnipiac sports, follow Q30 Sports on X. For Eli Ehlers, I'm Dan Welch. Have a great night, Bobcats.